a huge crack has been seen in Africa. This crack was seen in Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. Video footages and drone shots show that a huge crack has divided entire countries. This crack has not spared any roads, crops, houses, or cities. In some areas, people filled the crack with soil and used it as a temporary bridge. People thought that the soft soil had settled for some reason. Lines of the prime meridian and the equator meet, the African continent is located. Now, because the equator is closer to the sun, Africa is the hottest continent. But if we talk about the highest temperature, it was recorded in the USA. Africa is the hottest continent, but it does not mean that it does not get cold in Africa. Here, it has been recorded at -23 degrees Celsius in Africa. If we're talking about weather, Africa also has some unique features. Not only colors, but in every matter, Africa is quite extreme on the one hand, but its light nature is also present. For instance, Africa is home to the 10 poorest countries in the world. And because of them, Africa is called the poorest continent in the world. Africa is actually where some of the world's most valuable minerals are found. The same Africa, which is the poorest continent in the world, here, the capital of Gabon, Libreville, was declared the most expensive city in the world in the year 2000. After hearing all this, it seems quite strange, but in Africa, the capital of Somalia, Mogadishu, is considered the most dangerous city in the world. The population of Africa is 1.5 billion, but unfortunately, 40% of the population is illiterate. That is, they do not know how to read or write. This university, located in Timbuktu, Mali, was established 800 to 900 years ago. At its peak, around 25,000 students were enrolled here. At that time, the entire population in this area was only 100,000. It is surprising that the highest twin birth rate in the world is also found in Africa. Here, 50 out of 1,000 births are of twin babies. This is much higher than the international twin birth ratio, but science is still unaware of why this happens only in Africa. On the other hand, every 14 children born here die before reaching home. In 2010, Kenya's runners won 126 international marathons out of 156. But researchers are still working to unravel this mystery. What is so special about this tribe? The fastest war to end in the world was also fought in Africa. The world's shortest war. The world's shortest war was fought between Zanzibar and Great Britain on August 27, 1896. Zanzibar's Sultan, Hamad bin Thuwaini, died suddenly and was poisoned by his own cousin Khalid bin Barghash, who then became the new sultan. This new sultan had the support of Germany, but the British wanted to impose their own choice for the position. The British military ordered the new sultan to leave the throne of Zanzibar by 9 a.m. Khalid bin Barghash refused to obey Great Britain's order. Khalid bin Barghash defied the orders of Great Britain and stationed his 2,800 soldiers outside his palace on the island. And at 9:37, the flag of the palace was raised. During the conflict that lasted for 38 minutes, 500 of the Sultan's soldiers out of 2,800 were killed, while only one sailor from the British Navy was injured. How is it possible that it is Africa and not the pyramids of Egypt? But did you know that there are 2 times more pyramids in Sudan than Egypt? And this is also an African country. According to estimates, there are more than 250 pyramids in Sudan, while their size is very small. That's why it's not a popular tourist destination. So much is happening in Africa, so it must be quite big. Check out the African continent on this world map and compare it to the one in the USA. The African continent looks much smaller than the American continent. Actually, Africa is way larger than what we see on maps. If you look at the numbers, Africa is about 3 billion square kilometers. If Africa on the map is so big, then the American continent will be 4 or 5 billion square kilometers. Yes, it's 3 times smaller than Africa. Actually, the map of the world we use is a simplified version of the Earth and doesn't show its true size. The world map we use is not the real version and can never be perfect. Since our world is spherical, it's impossible to accurately depict the size and shape of continents on a two-dimensional map. An example of this is a tennis ball with tape on it. If we try to flatten the tennis ball by removing the tape, it will keep popping up from different places. If we try to flatten it completely, we will have to stretch it out, which will make it straight but alter its surface area. In the same way, when the round world is converted into a 2D map, the continents near the poles look bigger than necessary due to the stretch. Look at Greenland on this map, how big it looks. But in reality, it is far from Africa, and the country here is even smaller than Congo. Because Africa is very close to the equator, it does not look stretched on a 2D map, but shrinks. Actually, it's large enough to contain many parts of the USA, China, India, and even Europe. Since we're on the topic of geography, let's dive a bit deeper and explore whether Africa has always looked the way it does now. Has Africa ever looked different from what it looks like now? Scientists say that every 50 million years, the tectonic plates of Earth come together to form a massive supercontinent. The supercontinent started breaking up 200 million years ago, which is now known as Pangaea. This animation shows how a supercontinent called Pangaea broke apart into smaller continents over 200 million years ago. Today, scientists claim has been proven as the shape of eastern South America fits like a puzzle piece with Western Africa. To provide more evidence for the Pangaea theory, we have discovered Mesozoic fossils in both South America and Africa. This proves that these two continents, which are now separated by an ocean, were once part of the same landmass. And there are many species found in the Amazon rainforest in South America, which are also found in these jungles of West Africa. You can easily see on Google Earth that this part of Africa is just as green as South America. But will Africa always remain the same? This process of separating continents is called Mesozoic. This process of continents drifting apart has been happening for millions of years and is still ongoing. This process of continents separating has been happening for millions of years and is still ongoing. This crack was seen in Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. Video footage and drone shots revealed the presence of a massive crack that spans across multiple countries. This crack hasn't affected any roads, crops, houses, or cities. Some parts of the crack are as wide as 10 meters while others are as thin as 2 millimeters. Somewhere people started filling it with soil, and somewhere a temporary bridge was built over it. People thought that maybe the soft soil has settled for some reason. But in reality, scientists say that the African continent is being divided into two parts. It was previously believed that Africa was situated on a single tectonic plate. But in 1970, some evidence was found that the African plate was breaking. So now the question arises, is Africa really being divided into two parts, as South America was separated from it billions of years ago? No one has the answer yet. There is no doubt that a large part of East Africa's tectonic plate has broken, from the Red Sea to Mozambique. And it is moving away from the African continent by about 6 millimeters every year. It's possible that this entire region could break off and form an island, or a new ocean like the Red Sea could emerge in the middle of it. Or this process stops right here. Scientists believe that whatever happens, it will take about 5 billion years. Whatever happens in the future, but today we can see this process, it can also serve as a reminder of the powerful forces at work beneath the Earth's surface. The forces of destruction are not only present in the depths of Africa, but also a third of the world's natural resources can be found there. In fact, whenever there is a search for a rare mineral in the world, scientists choose Africa's soil first. Because they are sure that whether it is found anywhere else, it will definitely be found in Africa. For instance, columbite tantalite is a metal that is currently utilized in the production of electronics. It is also often called coltan. The unique aspect of columbite tantalite is that it doesn't corrode and has a high melting point. This metal is used to make capacitors, which are found in all electronic devices nowadays. Around 80% of this metal is believed to be found in Africa. Additionally, Africa is also a major source of the world's most precious gemstone, diamonds. This is just a fraction of Africa's abundant natural resources. If we talk about Africa, the topic does not end without talking about Sahara Desert. The Sahara alone holds countless secrets that can rival the entirety of Africa. Here is a structure that is seen from space. This 40 kilometers long round mark, which is also called the Eye of Sahara and the Richet structure, what secret is hidden below it? The unique stone of King Tutankhamun's necklace, which was not found anywhere in the world, was found only in the middle of Sahara. That too only in the north of Africa, while the rest of Africa is green and tropical. Along with all these features, it is Sahara, because of which the Amazon rainforest is green and full of life thousands of kilometers away. But how? You will learn all this and much more in the next episode of Secrets of Africa. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next exciting video.
If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe our channel.